Hello and welcome to the Faith Building Podcast, episode 76, with your lovely and amazing host, Vladi Kuna. We greet you. Today's topic is something that you need for sure, because we need it for sure every day, and let's call it communication. And to kick it off, I want to share a story that I also put in my newsletter this week, or last week basically, of a friend of mine. Let's call him Paul. And Paul has a wife. Let's call Paul's wife Anna. So Paul and Anna were out, and Anna has a new business as a relationship consultant. And some reporter interviewed her, and there was a whole page in their local newspaper. It was the local newspaper, so 20, 30 kilometers away, it was already a different newspaper. And on that specific day, when it came out, Paul and Anna were 30 kilometers away from their hometown. But Paul prepared and said, I have 3 people at home that will get the newspaper for us. So it was a Saturday. On Sunday, when we come back, we will have 3 newspapers with your article, everything is safe. Saturday morning, Anna said, I want to get the newspaper. And Paul said, I'm not going to drive 30 kilometers to get the newspaper because I asked 3 friends to get the newspaper. Yes, I want to go to a gas station, to a store and buy the newspaper now. But Anna, I asked 3 people to get the newspaper. So they were fighting about the newspaper, and of course it ended in a total disaster. When he told me the story, I smiled and I said, could it be that it was never about the newspaper? And he said, yes, she said it's about the newspaper. And I had 3 people buying the newspaper, so it would have been a waste of gas and time and everything. And it's interesting when you're standing outside of a discussion like that. Very often the light bulb goes on over your head and you say, I think I see the point. And if I give you the hint, it was never about the newspaper. What was it all about? Let's just play one scenery what it was all about. Could it have been that she was so proud that she had a full-size article in the newspaper? She wanted to get it herself in the gas station, in the store. Open the newspaper right there and beam like the brightest sun. Him next to her, probably her wish was that he basically falls down on his knees and says, Anna, you're the greatest human being, you're the greatest entrepreneur, you're the most beautiful wife, I'm so proud of you. And then they would have had an amazing day. The challenge is that Anna was not honest, not 100%, because it was never about the newspaper, it was about something different that she actually wanted through the newspaper. But as long as she spoke only about the newspaper, I want to get the newspaper, let's get the newspaper, the full truth was not recovered, because Paul said, I have a solution for the newspaper. And this is basically where they spoke about the same thing, but about totally different things. And that's what we want to talk about with you today, that you get 1 or 2 ideas how to avoid that in the future. And this was basically the first idea. Whenever you realize you get into a fight with someone about something where you have no idea what it's all about, you could do 1 of 3 things. Number 1 is you ask, honey, what is it really, really, really about? And if he or she would reply, it's about the newspaper, you realize, okay, they have no idea what it's all about. They still think it's the newspaper. Second idea, you could step into their shoes and say, if Paul would be Anna, and if Paul pretends he's Anna, he has a new business, and he knows he will get 3 newspapers the next day, why does he want to get in the shoes of Anna a 4th newspaper? And probably he would realize, knowing Anna, I think she wants to be, what we always say, seen, heard, or respected. And then you get the solution and you offer the solution. And version 3, if you say, I don't get it, the other one does not get it, I'm standing in their shoe and I'm still not getting it, then just do what the other one wants and experience what it's all about. Because in the moment when they enter the gas station and she gets the newspaper, you just pay very close attention what's happening in the next couple of seconds. And this will reveal the whole story behind the newspaper, and you will realize, it was never about getting the newspaper. It was about something different, and this I experienced by just following along. Vladi, what are your thoughts about the whole topic?
I love the topic, and it's really funny because when Norman suggested the topic, that happened to me actually last week a lot.
Really?
Well, not the newspapers,
Not a
but you know
newspaper.
what it is. I was standing there trying to explain people, and we shouldn't use the word trying, but you are actually explaining yourself and thinking, I don't think people understand me. Like when have you ever felt that you're doing something, but your intention is different, your energy is different, and in your mind, you're in your world perceiving this whole situation on a completely different level than people do, right? Because they're in their world, and this is exactly the same thing Norman's talking about. It's all about energy. And then you're telling them, and they have different perception coming from a different frequency, meaning, like whatever they're thinking about the subject, not knowing how you feel about that. Exactly like Anna, and was it Anna or Hannah?
Paul,
Did I
yes.
butcher her
Paul and Anna.
name? Because we sometimes may stand there, feel like they completely misunderstood me. That's not what I meant, because you're vibrating something else. And the clear communication often comes, as Norman's talking about, it often comes, and I've made a note to actually see she was coming from emotional part, whereas he was very rational, rational, like being the logical mind, where we always talking about the left and right hemisphere of the brain. This is a really great example. One, looking at it as, let's save time, very analytical, very efficient in a way, and meaning it well, probably as well. I get all three for her so she can enjoy it at home, but he was vibrating it from a different perception and energy, whereas she was willing to drive anywhere at that point because that was her moment. And we often just forget how important the other person moment is, and we look at it and close or lock it from the perception in our world with the intention we have. But obviously at that particular, in the now, those energies don't match. And that's why it causes arguments, causes upset, anger, like whatever negative emotions we practice. And it comes down to attitude. Because really, the more you grow, and I'm talking about, self-growth, and more you realize you're changing the self-love, the self-talk. That's the key. It's the self-love. If you are happy with yourself and you love that, you will always be able to be more compassionate towards others and try and not try and actually get into the other person's moment and say, okay, could it be that this is what they're looking for? And sometimes we can actually get the other person to express themselves differently because we ask them the right questions. And if we can actually learn how to do this with certain people, and let's be honest, there are people in your life, you find it easy to communicate, they understand you, it just flows. You say something, you don't have to explain the whole 10-step story because they get you. They know where you are. And this is why it causes also arguments in lots of us in personal development would have this experience where one person is growing. I'm not criticizing. Pay attention to just observing to what I'm saying is one person is growing, the other isn't. In terms of self-development, in terms of self-love, is self-awareness and being aware of the energies, the laws, because the laws are working whether you believe them or not. You're manifesting whether you believe them or not, but you manifest what you want or what you don't, whichever you give more energy to. So if you come from that point, you then feel very good, especially as we're older, meaning wiser and more experienced, because you're looking for ease and calm and joy. And if you're spending more time with a certain people where you don't have to give them the whole hour of explanation and they're not getting it and they're questioning and you're like mentally exhausted and drained to just have a conversation, that's the connection. It's actually the effective communication, and with some business and personal life as well, comes from really understanding yourself. Because if you do, then you can really quickly switch and say, okay, if I was in a newspaper, and I can relate to it, like we were in a magazines with Norman, and like when it came out, I was like posting it. It felt really good. It's like, yeah, like it feels really interesting that you going through a magazine and there's me. It feels really good. But there's people who might not have a good day or are operating from a frequency of sometimes jealousy, but sometimes it's actually just sadness or disappointment because you've been trying to do something for a while, and I've used the word trying because I'm avoiding it today. See how you attract things? You do not want to be using something. It will start popping up until you train yourself. So just do it. Like pause for a second, and it's all about attitude. Like breathe and say, okay, why did they say that? How are they feeling? And help them to communicate more effectively, because that actually helps you in the relationships, whether it's personal or business. Back to you, Norman. A great subject.
It does. Yes, it is. We picked a great subject, and I love your ideas. I want to expand it with another story that just came back to my mind. Was shopping with the kids earlier, and Anke called and said, I need your help. Call me back when you're back home. So I did. And as we are planning to go on a dolphin trip next week to Egypt to swim with 3 dolphins, we have some friends that are on this trip that are already in Egypt this week. And they do a similar tour, just with another friend. And one of the guys wrote her earlier, the bar is very high because the group we have on board, like all the people that are together, are so amazing. And we have a lot of dolphins. We found a new place where we have never been before. And there are big groups of dolphins. Oh, great thing. And I asked her, so what's the issue? And she said, yeah, he wrote the bar is high. And I'm just full of fear that we cannot deliver what they have this week, because next week it's basically Anke's and my trip. We are the organizers. And this usually happens with many, many people. That somebody says something or writes something, and your mind starts walking towards a goal where there is no goal at all, or walking towards fear. And the only reason that this happens is that something must have been pushed inside of you. It's a trigger Anke has within her. Maybe the fear of not being good enough. Maybe the fear of relating stuff that she does not like. Because for most of us it would have been, yeah, the bar is high, so okay. Or others would have said, oh, the game is on, let's do some more. But however your reaction is, has nothing to do with what the other is saying or writing or sending through a WhatsApp to you. Whenever it triggers you, it has to do with you. Because the same message sent to 10 people would have caused 10 different reactions. It's not about the sentence somebody says. What I did is I put it in relation and I said, hey, we tried everything that we could, and that you can compare it. You need to know why he thinks that the bar is very high, because he just wrote the bar is very high. We have a great group that we know, but he said in a different context that he's the only guy besides the crew members, and all the other participants are ladies and girls. And I said, could it be, because I know he works part-time from the yard we have, could it be that the girls do their thing and he's the only guy as a participant? He has a lot of time to work. Is this why he says this is great? This is the greatest trip ever? Is it that the other girls are in need of IT support because he's a great IT guy? And they ask him all day long about IT questions because they maybe don't have any ideas. And this causes him to say, this is a great trip. Is it because they have many dolphins right now? Is it because of the sun? Is it because of the mix? Is it because they talk all day, or they laugh all day, or the food is great, or the service is... Nothing of that was written in this one sentence, the bar is high. But the trigger that runs within your mind sees a big problem. Like, oh my gosh, what can we do that we deliver even more? Yeah, but we don't even know what to deliver. What does he want? And I said, if we want to do it his trip, then you should ask him and say, why is this trip so special? Tell me. And then you could pinpoint it down to his needs. But as we have 8 or 9 other participants, you would have to do that with all of them. And then you have a mixture of 9 or 10 different opinions, including ours. Now, what do you do? And I said, honey, I understand you. I hear you. Very important. I hear you. Just let it go. It will be perfect. We have a great group. We know everyone that comes and joins us. We know there will be dolphins. There were always dolphins. The weather will be nice. And how the group interacts with each other, we will see. And of course, we all compare what we should not do. So whenever this happens again, that you're very frightened or fearful or anxious or whatever you want to name it, just don't shoot the messenger. Don't blame the messenger who said or wrote something. Basically say thank you in your mind. Thank you that somebody pressed one of your triggers, that you realize that you have a trigger, because that you can resolve rather than trying to change the other one or understanding their opinion. You can do all of that, but this does not change anything within you where your trigger actually lays. So always when something bothers you, hold on, think about it and say, oh, why did this sentence, why did this WhatsApp, why did this quote, this whatever bother me so much right now? What is behind the newspaper? Like Vladi said, it's about an emotion behind it. It's not about what is written. It's not the bar is high, because the bar is high, yes, so what? No, but it triggered Anke. So what is it that triggers you? Just stop in the game, pause everything and ask yourself, what is this sentence causing within you? Does it trigger something from the past or some fear or some emotion or whatever it is? Look at it and do your very best to focus on it. Take the energy away by actually just realizing it and saying, okay, it has been caused in my childhood 40 years ago. Okay, I see that. Little child within me, I can see that you have been hurt back then. And I'm 40 years older now, and the adult version of me is not hurt by this sentence, but I have fully understanding. And if you need a hug, my little one, come on, I'll give you a hug. We will stand through that.
It's so funny. As you're talking, I love that. This is such a great example for, I love Anke. And you can see I can totally relate to her as a female. And this is what really fascinates me always about guys. They're just kind of cooler about things, they can respond to the things much better sometimes. Not all the times, because there are areas where we shine, but in this particular cases and in a business as well, I always found it like they just don't worry. And it really is the underlying fear underneath, because whether we express worry and fear, really, because you want to deliver an amazing service. And what it brings out, and I could feel Anke's kind of worry, is like, oh my God, what can we do more to deliver a better service for our clients? So, she's coming from a really great place. However, the energy of the fear that we activate is not always the best. This is why it's great to have someone like Norman, like that's the balance they have is amazing. And it's really like working together. What I wrote down is like, I love what Norman said, and I really want you to think about this. Thank the adversity all the time. We've been practicing this because we've been studying some Kevin Trudeau stuff, and it's really such a change already just in a couple of months for me. And, I've been in this, we've been in this for a long time, but it's like, oh my God, thanks for this adversity. I'll give you an example. When we were doing webinars and you're putting speakers, number 1, 2, 3, and people are like, I don't want to go first. Because the first one kind of sets it off, some people leave, you never know in these webinars and you have 5, 6 different speakers. One of the ladies, I won't name her, and she was like, I must go first. I want to go first and I want to be first because I want to have it literally, I want to tick the box off, because if I then hear other people are amazing, already in her mind creating the comparison. And this is really the energy what we always do, compare. We compare, am I going to do it? Oh my God, what if I don't do as well as someone? Already putting an energy in there and setting a path for failure in a sense of not really achieving what we would love. And then after she did, she listened to all the speakers. And after the webinar, she said, I wish I didn't go first. Because the way they all said, I would have adjusted my speech because I didn't quite know why everybody will be talking about it. And she was really unhappy. And like, oh, I did this. And, then you really pointing to yourself and you criticizing yourself like, oh, I wish I did that. And I wish I did that. But what if you actually bless that? You know what? It wasn't my best speech comparing to myself. And it happened to myself as well. And on a live stage when we went, actually, I think it was when I met Norman as well in Canada. And it's like that, well, you start or you go at the end. It doesn't matter. As long as you focus on the people and you say the right thing and your focus is, can I help others? And stop worrying about yourself completely. Do not put focus on yourself. That's something that helped me, and especially Norman helped me with this in terms of speaking. Just put the energy on people and don't worry, because we start being self-conscious and think, oh my God, is my jacket okay? What if am I saying it right? What if and you completely activate the fear and it takes you completely elsewhere. And going back to Norman's story, it is so funny because we underestimate how simple things of making people feel good in that moment will change everything. And you can't quite prepare for it. As long as I've done the best to prepare, I'm ready to give them great experience and make them feel good. That should be our own focus. Whatever service you provide or whatever product you're selling in your business, if you're coming from a point, how can I make feel people better? They really don't care. I take kids to many places, like luxury things and also simple things as camping and doing real. I cannot explain in the last 14 years of doing this with them. I am, and they are much more joyous and getting way more benefits from the simple things. You take them to London, you pay them, we took them for an afternoon tea, for a Savoy, you're in a very luxury place with a very luxury society. You continuously tell them, don't do that. Don't bang with the bear. You really started fearing like, lower your voice. You can't scream here. Like, don't use this cutlery, use that. They get stressed because they're really not enjoying being like a little soldiers. They know they're yet sort of enjoying. You take them somewhere into the camp where they cook, they burn themselves, they're doing their own barbecues, they're learning a skill, and you enjoy having much more joyous time and much more relaxed time. So the thing to remember is like, how can I serve better and just make people feel better? Because once you focus on that, you will feel better and the event will be amazing. Sometimes it's the simple things as hugging people. Or I love creating the energy balls, which I've learned actually at Bruce Lipton's webinar. And we were exchanging the energy balls, and I do that in a one-on-ones. And that makes me feel so amazing. The sound bath and just holding hands and doing something physically with people and swimming with dolphins. I mean, that's amazing. I have it on my list to do. Whales and dolphins. It's such an amazing thing you're doing, Norman, for them. So it actually gives you such a great experience. And like you said, it's the perception. Sometimes people just want peace and quiet because they live in so niching it down to the right person. It's not about you doing it wrong or right. There's no right or wrong. It's about that particular person. What do they need in that perfect moment? I just flew away for a week on my own and people were like, do you need company? You're sitting alone. I was like, no, I need to be alone. I want to be alone because I'm in this rush. We're always online, always around the kids. So actually the quiet me time, I can journal, I'm not interested in talking. I feel so happy being alone. Even in the restaurant, I want to be on my own, like I feel great in that moment. But there was this old lady who just is alone all the time and she just wanted talk. And, for a little bit, I could feel the annoyance. I was like, I just want quiet. And I ended up talking to her for an entire 2-hour journey. And she was just moving back from the UK, back, after 20 years, she just needed to talk to someone. And then I thought, oh my God, it actually helped me because she felt better. Again, take away the attention from yourself to others and it will just work out fantastically. Back to you.
I love that. And yes, it's the best advice I received from one of my mentors. And what you just said, sometimes it's a hug that's needed. I had a keynote speech yesterday with a company, a Daimler truck, like Mercedes-Benz trucks. I still wear that t-shirt. Very proud. And the
Nice.
first meeting was with the CFO, who said, actually, we planned the topic of AI, but you don't do AI. I said, no, I can talk about AI a little, but that's not my key topic. So I told him what I have to offer. It's about a human being and so on. And at the end, I said, if this should match, I'm your guy. And if not, not. We had a great talk. It was amazing. Then I spoke to the CEO and the marketing lady, and it kind of aligned. When I got there yesterday, I first met the marketing lady who was in charge of the event. She hugged me right away. We never met. But in between, speaking about the little details and the technical devices I need, we kept speaking about Iceland, I think. And I said, we were on Iceland, there was an active volcano, and she said, oh, we missed something like that. And I wanted to share a video with her that I filmed from a helicopter. It did not work. Then I said, I will share it with you when we meet. There was kind of a connection. Then I met the CEO, very friendly. Then I met the CFO, I met first online. He hugged me as well. So I was kind of part of that family of those 81 leaders. And I was there the whole morning to listen to their internal talks and their numbers and the things. And then I came on and I realized, as I was so much into their world and always saying we as leaders, we with Daimler Trucks, it was kind of a very interesting combination of energy and the atmosphere. And I had 90 minutes, and at the end I said, oh, I have 1 more minute. And afterwards, one guy told me, when you said you have 1 more minute, he basically realized that 1.5 hours have passed. Is that unbelievable? I would have never thought that this was 1.5 hours. It was like just an instant where you started talking. So we were all so aligned because the communication worked. I picked on their communication. I edited to my PowerPoint while they were talking. I changed something. So I made myself part of their team. And at the end, they presented me with one of their shirts they were wearing. And as you can see, 1 day later, I'm still very, very proud. And that's what communication is all about. It's about connecting things and connecting people and connecting you. And as a last advice from my side, that's what I presented yesterday. There was or is a clinic in Louisiana. It's called Oxner Healthcare. And they have been rated 13 times in a row, I think, maybe by now 14 or 15, #1 health clinic in Louisiana. So I thought, yeah, maybe it's only one health clinic, then it's very easy to win the prize of #1. And I Googled, and it was, I think, 93 hospitals in this Louisiana area, and 82 are from competitors. So they have 82 competitors, Oxner. But why did they become #1 13 times in a row? And I started Googling. I found online their whole training PDFs and how they onboard people. And I found the reason why they are #1. And it might sound so simple, but communication is simple. We just make it complicated from time to time. 3 things every employee has to do, otherwise they get a warning or get fired. #1, smile. Smile while you're at work. And you might think, really? Why? About the why we can talk in a second. Second one is greet other people. In the garage, in the hospital, if it's doctors, if it's patients, if it's relatives, you greet everyone. You smile, you greet other people. And the third one, you don't complain at work about nothing. And probably you think, huh? This is enough to become #1 13 times in a row? Think about it. If you would wake up every morning and you start to smile, and you smile not the fake smile, not the, he told me to smile, but the honest smile because the world is so beautiful, or you find something that is so beautiful. Second one, you would greet people in your street, on the way, in the car, at your workplace, in the supermarket, wherever you are, you would just say hello. I know in Germany it's a challenging task because everybody's like pushing their cart through the supermarket. And third of all, you would stop complaining about the economy, about politics, about presidents, about whoever and whatever. And you would focus on the things that make you smile and make you connect, greeting connects you to other people, do you think that your life, your energy, your surrounding and everything within and also without would change if you would do that for 30 days? And if you not only do that on your own, but all the other colleagues do the same. This could change the entire structure. It's just, how does Phil Goldfine, our Hollywood producer friend, always say? It's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple to smile, it's simple to greet, and it's simple to not complain. But it's not that easy because our habits are running and the programs are running and other people complain, so we join in to complain. Just make sure that you smile, that you greet other people, and you stop complaining and talk about the things that make you smile and make you happy, and just see what happens. Vladi, I let you close the call with your thoughts that you have.
I love that. I'll be very fast in closing. I say we love using your smile just made our day. And we even created stickers. I remember after COVID, I stuck it on the supermarket. So actually people walking into the supermarkets could see your smile made my day. And the reason is because I've seen it somewhere and it actually made me smile. And I thought that's a great idea. Think of what Norman just said, because it really is that simple. You smile, and that's why I love climbing. As a climbers in the mountains, people, every single person you meet, you actually say hi to. And this is how you can differentiate the people who just come there. You know, like some people just like some pictures, that they're not real hikers. They just show up to a lower places and go. And you can actually see those people will pass you. But on the top, where serious climbers are, there isn't one person who would just pass you without saying, hi, morning, you're right, are you well? And I've always loved it. I've always loved that sense of connection. And don't complain. I remember Bob saying to us Bob Proctor, our mentor, saying to us, just don't complain. Because the reason you want to complain, you're actually activating the energy, and you activate the energy. So just say it is what it is. Michael Beckwith said that. It is what it is. Just forget it. It's good. All is well. All is well. See good in everything and everybody. And actually, I love what Norman's, I'm a challenge queen. So I love do it for 30 days. I think you will actually do it for 3 days and you will feel completely different. But stick with it for 30 days to actually reprogram your neural pathways. But really, it's just because it makes you feel better now. And that's why you will change the vibration, and the results will always, by law, change for better if you do that. And that's all. And we look forward to our next episode, where we will talk about self-image a little bit with all these what we're saying.
Episode 77. We look forward to that. Have a wonderful week, my friends. Bye-bye.
Thank you.